Hey, what's up to you who listen to us? We appreciate you for clicking on the link and checking us out. This is Sports Counterpoints podcast. It's October 5th, 2022. I'm GB, got Coop, got Brian. What's up?
What's going on?
We're back.
All
Man,
feeling
back
like
at it.
winners this week, huh?
Yes, we
Yeah,
are winners.
our teams actually got the dub, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to start with the MLB, talk some playoffs, get to football, and we'll do our usual 1-2 steps. So let's start with the MLB, man. Playoffs is kicking off. One starting with Aaron Judge, who hit 62, right? That's the AL record,
AL.
AL record.
AL record for home runs. So shout out to him. As the postseason starts, man, let's just do a quick, your thoughts on the wild card, who you think might win, and just how you guys are feeling about baseball.
Hey, B, why don't you start? Philly, St. Louis. Any quick hitters?
Not particularly. I think St. Louis is just a far better team. This is likely to be a 2 games and over. Phillies were barely able, just kind of snuck into the playoffs here. I don't think there's any huge expectations on the team. I think everyone's just kind of like happy to be here. And I think the St. Louis Cardinals are likely to make pretty quick work of them. Now, that's not to say that the Phillies were a bad team. I mean, they had 87 wins and St. Louis Cardinals only had 93, but one's third place in their division, the other's first place in their division. It seems to me that it seems pretty clear that the St. Louis Cardinals are more poised to go deeper. And the St. Louis Cardinals always do pretty well in the playoffs when they make it. So, if I would say that this is probably a 2 games and done type of situation, but you never know. I mean, short series can go any way you want. This particular format, as we were talking about right before the show, is different in that all the matchups are played at home for St. Louis. That's a pretty big advantage in a short series.
Yep.
So easy and done. I'll take the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm making it short and sweet, man. St. Louis cares about baseball. They're gonna be hyped up for this. They don't care they're playing against Philly. They don't care if they're playing against anybody. I got St. Louis sweeping this series. Philly, like you said, they're just happy to be here. Nobody expected them to be here. It's really not that great of a team. But they get, I guess, props for making it this far, but nobody's gonna, be mad at them when they get swept. So, good for them for making it, but it's all St. Louis.
All right, and then on the other side, you got San Diego, the Padres, and the New York Mets.
Yeah, so this series right here is about a bunch of failures playing each other. San Diego, they should have had a better season, in my opinion, than the Mets. They acquired Scherzer and they had DeGrom, and then they pretty much were no shows against Atlanta, and Atlanta ended up taking that division, where the Mets were in the lead for a pretty significant amount of time and lost the division lead. So now they're playing against the San Diego Padres. I'm gonna, even though both of these teams are underachieving, I'm gonna go with the Mets in this one. I think it's gonna go 3 games, and I'll take the Mets here. What
And
about you, B?
didn't they lose Tatis too?
I think San Diego lost Tatis. Yeah,
Fernando
That was at the
Tatis.
beginning of the season. I mean, they
Yeah.
got to this point kind of in spite of them.
Yeah.
I don't see it the same way. I mean, the Mets won 101 games and they had a numerical tie with the Braves. I mean, yeah, the Braves had the tiebreakers, but Mets have won 3 straight. They're looking pretty good. I don't think I think the San Diego Padres have accomplished more than they thought they were to be able to do this without Tatis. They've gotten several players to step up, but I don't think that they're in the same weight class as the Mets when healthy. So I'd take the Mets at home and probably 2, but again, a 3-game series, it doesn't take much. You get one good game and you can sneak away with a win. These 3-game series have always been more coin flips than statistical statistically easy to pick out. But anyways, I take the Mets. I take them in 2, and we'll see what happens next.
All right, and so then on the other side, and this is for the we were just talking about the NL. So on the AL side, Tampa Bay and Cleveland.
What you like, B?
I mean, these 2 teams are actually tied, or pretty close to tied. So, but look, Tampa Bay plays in a harder division. They're behind Toronto and New York. Um, I'm I'm gonna take Tampa Bay. If you got to pick something that's going to be a little bit different, I'm going to take Tampa Bay to go in there and sneak out a 3-game win over Cleveland. Cleveland just never really seized the moment. My very disappointing Twins were more the talk of that division and how they started off hot and then fell apart. But Cleveland never really seized it. I think they just kind of held their breath the longest. I'll take Tampa Bay.
I'm going to go with Cleveland. I'm gonna take Cleveland here. Tampa Bay is a decent team, but I just think Cleveland, if they can get past I would say the first couple of pitchers early, I think they have enough to put enough offense to actually win this series. So it can go either way, but personally, I'm just going to take Cleveland here.
Okay.
Yep.
And then I don't watch no baseball, so I don't have any thoughts. I just appreciate y'all for keeping us well rounded on the show. Seattle and Toronto. I will rock with Seattle on this one just because they haven't been in the playoffs for years, and Ken Griffey Jr. was my favorite player.
Okay. I'm gonna take I'm gonna take Toronto here. I just think they're just a better team offensively and pitching wise. Well, good for Seattle to make it this far.
Yeah.
I don't like the LA Angels, so I'm happy they're not in there. But so Seattle wants to make it, and Oakland, my team is probably the worst in baseball. But I don't know if you noticed this, Brian, when you look at the standings, but I think there are 10 teams in Major League Baseball that are 30 games out of first place. That's a damn shame. But I'm gonna take Toronto here. What about you?
Definitely taking Toronto. I usually go to more baseball games than I did this year. But pandemic, work, life, all the rest of it. I only got to one baseball game all season. That was this past Saturday. That was to go see the Seattle Mariners in Seattle, kind of towards the end of their season. So here's what I'll tell you. One thing that I noticed, and I was actually chatting with a couple of the guys that I was at the game with about it, their best batting average is like 254 for anyone who has a qualifying batting average. They had a rookie that they brought up for the last couple of games who was batting 500. That's because he struck out in the first one and hit into play in the second one. That was for 500. He doesn't really count. Other than that, anyone who would qualify was only batting. The best they could do was batting 253. There's just no way you can go into the playoffs having a team that is batting at that level and expect to create enough offense to go into another team and win. It just doesn't work that way. The joke that we had during the game was, Seattle's really good as long as they coordinate, because when you're batting 250 across the board, essentially, everyone has to get a hit in the same inning, right? It's not like when you're batting 300 plus, that means you're going to get 2-3 hits a game over the course of time. When you're batting 250, you're basically, everyone's getting one hit per game. So you got to make sure that you stack them in order to score runs. They did that in this game. They had a big first inning and then got kind of a run up. But anyways, the only thing that I noticed is that there's just not enough bats on that lineup to compete in the playoffs. So I think Seattle is not going to be able to win, and I'll take the Blue Jays.
All right. Okay. Yeah, so that's your kind of looking at the postseason. We'll see how you guys do. We could talk about it as the postseason progresses. Let's get to the NFL real quick though. Did y'all, before we top into that, y'all heard about this Jordan Poole, Draymond Green? Supposedly Draymond Green forcefully struck Jordan Poole during practice argument. I don't know if it's like one of those Kobe, elbows, haha, let's be tough, or if it's an actual Draymond, but we'll see. It's definitely being reported while they're in Japan. Shooting contest between Jordan Peele and someone else versus Clay and Steph. Poole loses. Draymond's on the podcast. Like, it was great to see them humble Jordan Poole. Poole had something to say about it. Don't know if that ties in, but supposedly. So it's something to keep in mind.
That could be real interesting because they're in the process of trying to negotiate a longer term deal with Jordan Poole.
Yep.
And for as much as Draymond has been the heart of that team, and he even snuck by with KD leaving, If Jordan Poole were to say, I'm not going to sign, I would imagine that Golden State will have to find something to do with Draymond Green, because if they want this dynasty to continue on past last year, they need Jordan Poole there. So, anyways, I don't know anything about it. I'm just hearing about it for the first time, but my first reaction is, I think Draymond might have finally picked a fight that the organization isn't going to back him on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. I agree. The
What
person with the, it's almost like, I'm not gonna say it's just like it because Kobe and Shaq were A-level players, but the Lakers Jerry Buss went with the guy who was not only more dedicated to basketball, but the one who had the longer term potential.
Yep.
Shaq was gonna be on the way down. So I mean, yeah, we ate it for a year. He won a title in Miami, but in the long run, I mean, we got 2 from Kobe later. So Lakers made the right decision. So it could be another one of those situations to where, hey, we taking the guy with the upside for the next 10 years than the guy on the downside of his career. So yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So yeah, I just sent y'all a link, but yeah, just something that popped up. We were talking about earlier, so I just thought I'd throw it in. So yeah, and we'll talk about basketball more going forward as we get a little closer to season. Currently in preseason, so that's cool. So yeah, NFL. Let's start. I mean, we kind of been doing this starting with our teams. Last week we started with the team that lost, so we don't have one of those this week. So
We
I
can
guess
start with mine.
yeah, let's
This
see how'd you feel about Niners play the Rams on Monday Night
well,
Football.
Yeah. I actually bet on the 49ers, which is something I very rarely do. Only reason I did is because the 49ers always seem to win this game. They play
Yep.
the Rams at home. They get hyped up. They put their all into this game. Their game plan was actually kind of funny to me. Well, not funny, but it was smart. They just went away from Aaron Donald. So wherever Aaron Donald was at, they just went away from him, which I guess is kind of smart.
Brilliant.
Because that dude,
Shirley Chance.
he's just very good. But San Francisco won this game, and it was all defense and Debo. The defensive effort got wasted last week by Jimmy Garoppolo. They only gave up 9 points, and they still lost the game. This game should have been a blowout. It was still in doubt with 6 minutes left to go in the game, but the defense, of course, pulled it through. This Debo, I mean, he was, took some off-target passes from Garoppolo, and ran for touchdowns, and that was pretty much our offense. Side passes, Garoppolo would throw for like a yard or 2, and then the receiver would run for like 10 or 12 yards or whatever. But the best thing about that Debo run was when Jalen Ramsey, who was known in the NFL as a person who doesn't like to tackle, he tried to just put a shoulder out there. And like that was really going to take out. He should just do what he always does. He's pretty much a pile inspector. That's what Jalen Ramsey is. He shows up to the pile late, acts like he was there, and then talks a lot of trash. That's what he should have done instead of trying to make a fake tackle on Debo. But, congratulations to the 49ers, but, I don't really think all is well with the 49ers. I just still don't like the offense. As far as the Rams, this game showed me a lot about the Rams. They don't have the assets to actually rebuild that team because they give away all their picks. I know, Brian, you have a lot of faith in that whole Allen Robinson, Matt Stafford connection would get together. I don't.
I did on 3 fantasy leagues.
Yeah, I don't. He only has 9 catches this year, but the reason why I don't is because dude just can't get open. I don't know if he's washed. I don't know what it is. Maybe he can't absorb the playbook. I don't know. I just know something isn't right. I thought he was going to have a decent game against us because our corners ain't the best. But the Rams are last in big plays in NFL. Stafford got sacked 7 times, just like he did against the Bills. They lost another offensive lineman. I told you, that line. Whenever they play against a good defense, that line is getting ate up. So I still think the Rams can probably still get it together, but they might have to get OBJ or wait for Van Jefferson to get back or whatever. But it's not looking good right now for the Rams, and they go against Dallas next week, another pretty decent pass rush. But Brian, what you think about the game?
And you guys said he wouldn't talk a lot on that one.
Anyways, 5 minutes.
I didn't watch the game because I was on a plane flying home. But what I did catch from box scores and reading up on it, a couple of thoughts. First of all, the San Francisco 49er offense is just not that good. And they get a lot of credit because they're getting short fields. They're getting some big plays by players like Debo, and then their defense is scoring. And congratulations on what's his name, Talfanega, who was
USC,
USC, but also had been practicing and training with Troy Polamalu, And that interception play looked so much like a Troy Polamalu jump the pass, pause on the route and just freestyle his way to a pick and a touchdown. So, that's all wonderful. Yeah, on the Rams side, I actually don't think it's as much about Stafford or Allen Robinson or any of these players. I mean, Akers is still woeful, and their rushing offense is completely woeful. I think it's about the absence of Kevin McConnell. I think they miss him and his ability to use those tools. So the offense definitely looks like it's discombobulated, but I think that it's all across the entire place. It's not Allen Robinson's inability, because Cam Akers also sucks, and Darrell Henderson also sucks, and Cooper Kupp is good one game and then not good another game. So and Stafford looks discombobulated, even though and they're not able to get him into places where, even though the line is a little bit is porous, that they're running plays where they get him outside of the pocket and away from the pressure, where you can throw it downfield. It's across the board. And so my thought on that is, I do think that it's right to be worried about the Rams, because they're obviously susceptible to losing to teams that have really good defenses, and that's what makes playoffs. But I think what they need to figure out is what kind of scheme they're going to run, and how to be creative like they were when they had Kevin McConnell last year. And if you want him back, they're more than welcome to come get him.
Yeah, I'm going to defend Cooper Kupp, man, because their passing offense is Cooper Kupp and the tight end. They drafted some guy named Bishop.
No one said Cooper Kupp was bad.
Oh, no,
Cooper
no.
Kupp has a game on. Yeah.
I know, but they drafted somebody. The Rams drafted somebody named Bishop Tutu Atwell in the second round. He doesn't even play. So it's like Robert Woods, they traded him and they thought they were getting something better with Allen Robinson. That's not working out. So Cooper Kupp is pretty much the offense in the passing game.
Well, here I will defend Allen Robinson. You were just if Robert Woods was there, he would have the same exact problem, because everyone on the offense across the board is having the same exact problem. Cooper Kupp is getting his because he's Cooper Kupp, but everyone else is having a problem with this offensive scheme. There isn't another single player you can point to that's performing on a consistent
I got a
basis.
few of them, and I got no kind of fantasy points.
Man.
So,
Cooper Kupp, that dude be open though.
he doesn't run a great route. He runs a perfect route.
Yes, exactly. He be open.
Stafford's connection with him is crazy. That pass on the sidelines when he hit him, I mean, the window was crazy going away from him. Like he hits him. I think the Niners always win this game though. Like a lot of people are like, oh, we got to do. I'm like, man, y'all always win this game. It's what they do. I don't think I think Shanahan's regular season record in the last few years against the Rams, I think he might have lost one like that first year when he had Nick Mullins or something. But beyond that, I think he's won like 7 in a row or something.
Garoppolo has never lost to the Rams in the regular season.
Right. Exactly.
7-0. So it's Garoppolo now.
They always figure it out. So I wasn't too surprised. And that defense, man, it's mannish. It's ridiculous. That front line is crazy. It's crazy. So I'm hoping I know we play all end of the year, so I'm glad it's end of the year so we could figure out, because we got plenty of pass rushes to face. So speaking of that, Raiders played. Who did we play? The Broncos. They put up 11 on y'all last week. They put up 23 on us. We put up 32 or something like that.
That wins games. That calls win games. Yeah.
Yeah. Got a defensive touchdown. First one in 3 years. Ridiculous. But they played a solid game. The defense actually showed up. We won because of defense and Josh Jacobs. Period. The rest of the offense has it figured out. We definitely look like we're lost. Broncos, I feel the same way. Their defense is gonna be the reason they're in games, because their offense is just not it. They don't have it yet. Like it's obvious that they don't know what they're doing, especially in key situations. Except relying on Russ, who is Russ. So a couple of plays he made because he's Russ, but the actual play calling for both teams was very sad on the offensive end.
Yeah, I got to give Brian credit on this one. I thought it was a little bit of Russ and a little bit of Hackett as the issue, and Brian had it as all Hackett. And I'm with you. I've come over to that side now. It's all Hackett, man. They're the most penalized team in the NFL. They only have 6 offensive touchdowns this year, and now they got that fumble machine, Melvin Gordon, as a starting running back now.
Hey man, you leave Melvin alone
because Javonte Williams is out for the season. I did hate
to see that though. I hate to see anybody
out
for the season.
True. I did say though in our pre-show, I did have Denver come in second place at 12-5, but I also said it wouldn't surprise me if they went 8-9 and miss the playoffs. And it looks like right now they could be trending towards that 8-9. B, what you think of? Oh, and then we all had the Raiders win this game, Glenn. So we were all on the same side. We had the
Yeah.
Raiders.
Yeah.
Brian, go ahead.
And I look, this is congratulations to the Raiders. They did not play an outstanding game, but they did manage to win an important game, an important divisional game. Josh Jacobs looked great.
Beast.
You know, he was definitely doing that work that needed to be done. I mean, what was it? 28 carries at 5 yards an average for 144 yards. That's great. That's good stuff. You know, Carr wasn't. He hasn't quite figured out fixed that tunnel vision yet. The only difference between the other games in the tunnel vision and this game in the tunnel vision, in my opinion, was it connected. Devontae Adams actually got yards, but he still had that tunnel vision. He tried to force a lot of passes. They just connected this time, and what did he get? 101 yards on 9 receptions and out of 13 targets. Almost half of the targets went to Devontae Adams. On the other side, it's so hard to talk about what the Denver Broncos are. I mean, Russell Wilson is still a very good quarterback, and still can make plays, but this offense is just a joke. You know, any one of let's bring it all back. This is like playing Tecmo Bowl in the first version, where it's up in one button and you get 4 plays to choose from. I mean, there's no creativity. There's nothing about this that makes you think that they're going to be able to make a big play. And then they just lost the up and coming player that they had in Javonte Williams.
Yep.
Melvin Gordon, who they threw in there, did nothing. I mean, what, 3 yards, 3 carries?
He did what he had to do. I think B froze. Oh, I all froze. All right. See if they pop back.